Let that be a lesson to all of you. Be very careful what you say in public places, because someone might remember. So before we get started, let me capture all of you. You know, Sweet Honey in the Rock very eloquently sings, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." And I have to say, sometimes I wonder, but when I look out at this room, you don't have this vantage point. I believe them. You are the ones that we've been waiting for, and we're going to get this done. Harriet Tubman said, "I could have freed more people if they knew they were enslaved." Fannie Lou Hamer said, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." And I had to make a conscious decision to save my health, my emotional health, my physical health, to move beyond that and decide that I was going to be glad to be alive right now. I'm going to embrace all the power in this room, and collectively, we're going to kick his ass. And you may be asking yourself, which his? All of them. It was so wonderful to hear from my sister from Arizona about the progressive actions they're taking in Arizona. And it was also deeply disturbing to realize that the California legislature had her very exact experience this last year. It was very disturbing as we fancy ourselves the progressive blue state that we are. Sometimes they are lighter shade in blue than others. As my sister, Assemblywoman Carrillo, said earlier, all Democrats ain't created equal. And so don't be complacent and get comfortable assuming because you live in California that it's all good. We have work to do, sisters. So let's paint by numbers, shall we? Statehood, 1849. Since then, 4,500 men have been elected to serve you in your California state legislature. Since statehood, 157 women have been elected to serve you in your state legislature. Since statehood. We currently have 31 members of the Women's Caucus, 19 of whom are women of color. And yet with those dismal paint by numbers, I'm also proud to stand here before you as a member of the California State Senate and say that the first time since statehood, members of the Senate elected a woman to be our leader, our President Pro Tem. An openly gay woman from Appalachia, nonetheless. And I'm also proud to stand here and say that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle in the state Senate elected a woman to be their leader, Pat Bates. And so for the first time in history in California, when you look at that picture we take every year of the entire California State Senate, there will be 2 women standing in the middle, in the aisle, in charge of that body. That's a powerful statement. The Center for the American Woman in Politics at Rutgers says, when women run, we win. And I'll be the first one to tell you that it's not easy. It's hard. It's hard to raise money. It's hard to wear your naturally curly hair and be a candidate and convince those who run campaigns that people are going to elect me because of what was inside of my head, not because I chose to wear my hair locked. It's hard to convince other women to not be judgmental and to accept me as my single adoptive parent self, mid-career, mid-age, 6 foot tall, black, unapologetically black, confident woman. That I could lead, as I had done, a child development organization, $500 million budget, that I could lead, that I could step up and be the first black woman to chair the Senate Budget Committee. But we're the first ones that have to step up when women put themselves out there and say, I think I'm going to do it, I think I'm going to do it, and jump. We have to convince them that we will be there to catch them, that we will walk the precincts, and that we'll write the checks. And that while it's wonderful to hear about all these organizations who are going to reframe the way campaign finance operates, on a very personal, individual level, that you have to reach down in your pocketbook and write a check to a woman who has declared that she is going to represent us in any body of government. And so it's wonderful for us to convene and gather and get pumped up and meet each other, but you have to make a decision about what you're going to do when you leave here today. Some will run, some won't. But everyone has to make a decision about one thing, minimally one thing you're going to do when you leave here today. Whether it's phone bank, whether it's make sure all your friends and families and neighbors vote, because guess what, they're not. Whether it's doing whatever you can do in your respective states to step up and step out. Why should you care? Well, for me, it's obvious. I'm clear that I'm in elected office because there's nothing else I could be doing right now with my life. I'm clear about that. I think I'm very blessed about having that own sense of personal clarity. But why should you care? If you care about health access for all, if you care about housing for all, if you care about quality child care and early education and high quality education for all, if you care about creating a safe workplace for all, if you care about ending the cradle to prison pipeline for all, then you too don't have a choice but to figure out what role you're going to play in helping to solve many of these national, state, community, in our own homes dilemmas that we're all encountering. It won't be easy. I'll be the first one to tell you. But I have to say, when the alarm goes off, and having turned 54 last Friday, I feel a little tightness in my back or my knee. All I have to think about is Sister Dolores. Did you see her jump up these steps? We are in the presence of our very own royalty. And none of us get to think that our lives, our challenges, our kids, our college freshmen who are making me crazy, trump our individual and collective responsibility to create a California in which we all want to live in, raise our children in, and grow old in. So I'm expecting to see all of you beyond today, figuring out what you're going to do in your own communities, coming up to the state capitol when Wendy and I call you because they're trying to break us down with some progressive bill we're trying to put across the finish line. We have to have our hands on each other's back. You know, I came up out of the Black women's self-help movement, Billy Avery out of Washington, D.C. And through the self-help movement, there is this notion that when a woman is struggling and trying to keep it together and tell her story, that you simply come up and put your hand on her back. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to make a suggestion or push you in one direction or the other. I am simply going to rest my hand on the center of your back. And so everybody in here needs to reach to the sister to your right and put your hand on her back. Didn't that feel good? And that is just sister to sister, our way of saying, Salbona, I see you. I am here if you need me. And together, we're going to kick his ass.